Welcome to the Motherload Show. I am Steve Long, and we are here with
Sandra Brunson, and The Motherload is a weekly podcast highlighting moms of our favorite people in sports and entertainment.
So this show is our pilot episode. We're super excited. We're doing a lot of planning and, just kicking off the idea that we have. And so we've brought on a very special guest, specifically to you, Sandra, and to me as well, of course. Yeah. A little more special for you, of course. But yeah, I'd love to just kind of kick off, like, how you been? Like, you're in the middle of a pretty tense last couple weeks, right?
Yeah, been great. Just enjoying the ride and just supporting Jalen, and I couldn't ask for a better time. So I'm just
So for those of you that don't know, Sandra is the mom of Dallas Mavericks breakout star Jalen Brunson, and so we are the co-hosts of this show, and she brings a really awesome perspective as a mom of somebody that is in the limelight, in the spotlight, and so just super honored to be doing this show with you. And so we got a lot of fun things planned. We were kicking around some guests. I don't know if you want to mention any of the guests that we're planning on bringing on, people that you're confident about. Even if they say no later, then we'll just bleep them out in post.
One thing about being a mom, we're a tight-knit sorority.
Okay.
So I do have a couple of people that I'd love to have on the show, starting with Mikal Bridges' mom.
Okay.
Also, a couple of my Villanova moms
that
are like my sisters.
Love that.
Yeah, and then we have a couple of moms that are outside of sports that I'd like to tap into. And I just feel like they would give us the ideal picture of the person behind, the bench, or just the person who's really the epitome of this iconic figure. So we want to really tap into who they are deep down, off the court, behind the screen, and hopefully these moms will come through.
Yeah, I'm sure they will, and I think a lot of them. It's the sacrifice that they've made that really kind of has put, their son or daughter to where they're at, and without that sacrifice, I think in a lot of these cases, they may not be where they're at right now.
Exactly. And who better that, when you see your favorite sports people or heroes, who do they shout out first?
Me. No, I'm just kidding. Exactly 0 of them have shouted out me. But a lot of them shout out their moms.
They shout out their moms. And, it's just a special way of acknowledging these women that are just the backbone of the careers and the accomplishments.
Yeah, so I'm super excited. I'm really leaning on Sandra to bring in, the moms, because I know 7, and they'd be interesting to talk to, but probably not as much as the ones that Sandra bring in. So we're really excited about that. But our first show, one of the things that we're wanting to also do is maybe there's some people, maybe their moms aren't around, or maybe they just want to honor their mom in a certain way. So we might actually bring on, the son or the daughter, and they will talk about their mom. So this first episode's kind of like that a little bit, and our guest, just a little bit about him is Jalen Brunson, your son. Quick rundown of some of the things that he's accomplished on the basketball court. Jalen, just nod if you remember all these things happening. FIBA Under-19 World Cup MVP, USA Basketball Male Athlete of the Year, Illinois Mr. Basketball in 2015, First Team Parade All-American. That sounds awesome. McDonald's All-American. I was at that game in Chicago at the United Center. The Robert V. Giese Trophy winner. Oh, the prestigious Geese, I think is what people called it. What is that? That's the Big Five. Isn't that like I think it's the Big Five Philadelphia Player of the Year, I believe.
I'm going to have to look that
We'll have to ask Jalen that when he comes on, what that is. Big East All-Freshman Team, 2-time First Team All-Big East. Big East Player of the Year in 2018. Second Team Academic All-American. We got a smarty pants here, 2018. And, of course, the Bob Cousy Award for the point guard of the year. Consensus First Team All-American in 2018. National College Player of the Year in 2018. 2-time NCAA champion, and most importantly, the son of Sandra Brunson. I think that's the biggest accolade on that list. And so we welcome Jalen Brunson to the show. What's up, man?
How you guys doing? Thank you for having me.
Are you exhausted from the game last night? For those who, as we're recording, last night was they closed out the series against the beloved team from Utah. Yeah, there's some beloved players on Utah, right? At least a couple.
Eric Pascal.
Pascal, that was great to see. He came in the fourth quarter, made me a little nervous last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. Yeah, I'd say the least. I'll say that.
Well, thank you for joining us. We didn't have to twist your arm too much, I hope.
I'm not going to comment on that, Mom, because
well, that's one of the beauties of having the moms, right? Is because they have that extra little, hey, you're going to be on this show, and they're like, yes, Mom. That's an advantage that we've got there. So, cool, man. So, like, when you first heard that your mom was going to be hosting a podcast with this Steve Long guy, man, like, what were you thinking?
One, I felt honestly happy that my mom wouldn't be annoying me as much. One. Two, one thing that I feel for Steve is that he's going to be at the, his back is going to be hurting. Like he's going to have to carry a lot of the show. That's the other thing.
Be nice.
Honestly, I'm using this to just I'm using this right
now.
You
got the stage. Yeah, we'll mute her and you just keep going. That'd be awesome.
But yeah, I'll definitely hear this. I'll hear this later though.
No, I'm here for it.
It'll come back around. So I'm gonna stop there.
Awesome. So I heard good things is how I interpret that. But yeah, no, we are excited, and this is something we've been talking about for just a few months, and really excited to showcase moms. And so I know you're being tough right now, and I know what this woman means to you, and so thank you for being on to talk about
Mother's
her
Day
in that way. And Mother's Day is coming up, so what do you have any hints? Do you have any subtle hints for what you want that you want to sneak in?
I already bought myself something.
Oh, okay.
And
you heard that correctly. She bought herself something and said, basically just slid the receipt and said, just.
Okay. Do you at least get to put your name on the bag or the box or whatever?
No need.
Okay.
It's okay.
All right.
To be honest with you, I don't even know what she got.
Well, it's fantastic. Whatever.
Oh no, I remember. Sorry. It took a minute.
It's a very modest gift.
Okay.
It's modest.
That used to be my grandpa's. Every time we'd be like, "Thanks, Pa," and he'd be like, "What'd I get you?" And you're like, "Okay, cool." That was like a running joke. So. Yeah, awesome. So you've done a bunch of these kind of things, right? Like you've been on, people asking you questions. I know I've seen you in a few of them. So for us rookies, I think you actually called your mom rookie when we were trying to get the mics going. What are some tips you might have us for people? Maybe it's some pet peeves that you've had of people hosting shows before, or maybe I saw that and you really liked that and wanted to point it out. Like give us some advice, man.
I think most importantly, be yourself. I think it's amazing when we can just have a genuine conversation. It's great to have talking points, but at the same time, things may lead to conversations where you don't even think they could go, and then it turns out to be great content. I think most importantly, just having the genuine conversation, having it flow. It's amazing. It's what's going to make it so unique and special, but I really don't have a lot of.
Okay, good. So we can cut you off. Moving on.
All right, moving on.
I just had to throw that in there.
No, that's awesome. Who so we were talking. Who would be somebody that you think we should get on? Like you said, maybe it's somebody that we wouldn't think of, or I think immediately we go to a lot of Villanova folks, right? Some Dallas folks. But who's somebody that you met their mom that you think is a really cool relationship that we might should try to contact and go after. And
I think there are a couple people who may not have kids or have kids, but they're basically a mom of millions and millions of people.
Okay.
And what I mean by that, there's a woman who I worked who basically ran Villanova. If it wasn't Jay Wright, it was this woman, Arlisha Davidson.
Okay. Is she the one that like would arrange tickets and things for
everything?
Okay,
She did. When I say she ran Villanova, she
She
the
is
coach.
Villanova.
She is Villanova.
I remember her, and I think yeah,
She's
and,
like the
and she
auntie.
be the one after you won in 2015 or was it 2016, where you had to go like up those stairs to kind of get to every, and she was direct like, nope, you don't,
Yep.
yes, you go, no, you are not, and everybody's like, yes, ma'am,
Yep.
like immediately.
That is her.
Okay, yeah, I remember her.
I think she would be great. I think
She
she
would be
was.
great. To get her,
You
I
might
don't
not
know.
get. You might.
We
You
won't
might.
get her.
You might not get the camera part, but you may get the voice part.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right, because she's the one, she likes to be behind the scenes. And I got to tell you, to kind of just highlight what you said, on your recruiting visit, I happened to be sitting across from her at like at the calf, and all the players were coming in. And the way that they treated her, I was like, oh, he's going here. Yeah, because she was just like, okay, I called your phone. You didn't call me back. You were supposed to be in class. Where were you? Like everybody, and they were like, yes, okay. And I was like, oh, he'll be great here. She'll
That's
keep him
awesome.
on point. So she's like the surrogate mom, auntie, stepmom, whatever you want to call it, because all the moms talk to her as well. And just know that every school, every basketball program should have an Arlesia Peterson.
Okay, and she's still there at Villanova.
Yes, she is.
All right.
So we talked about me for a little bit, and you have this smirk on your face, so it's kind of throwing me off. But at any rate, Jalen.
That's the I'm eating delicious food smirk, I think, is what that is.
So, Jalen, I want everyone out there to know about how you came to meet Steve. And, okay, you're shaking your head, so there has to be some good stories behind there. So,
I truly do not remember.
He's like, I don't know who this guy is.
Okay, so
I truly do not remember.
you don't remember the first time you met him,
No.
but you do know how the relationship grew.
I think I met him through.
Also, here, I'll just remind you. So we met at the Williams house for group, and Cameron and Nick brought you to the Williams house that one day, and that was the first group that you showed up at.
That makes sense.
And like Josh brought Nick and Cam, and then Nick and Cam kind of brought you into the group. And
So for everyone who doesn't know, Steve, can you explain to what group is and like how so Willow Creek, and we're not doing a plug for any religious affiliations, but however, how that came to be and what you did and what you meant to, the folks over at Willow Creek and the children that met at group?
yeah, so I mean, I got the chance to lead a group of kids. They had a massive youth group, so they broke it down by high schools. And so I led the Stevenson group. I demanded that I get a group that the school name had entirely my first name in it, and they found Steven. No, I'm sorry. Stevenson. So I led the group of kids from there, and yeah, a lot of it turns out that 2015 they won a state championship in football and in basketball, and then I think they had a couple tennis players won state championships, and I think water polo did something that year. I mean, they just had kind of a stacked class that year, so that was fun to get to go along for that ride.
You supported them the entire time.
Well, and that's the thing it's
everywhere.
It's easy to support like in that way in the sports, especially when they're winning. But I mean, there's also
winning helps.
Winning does help. But
you don't
also,
want to follow a bunch of losing kids. Come on.
Oh, believe me, I was the losing kid growing up, so I know how to do that too. But I just wanted to give them a place because a lot of them, especially like Jalen, he'd been in the news from his freshman year on, even before that a little bit, and so I just wanted to give a place where he didn't have to be Jalen Brunson when he showed up to group. He just had to be Jalen and just be himself, and hopefully providing that space for some of these highly recruited athletes and people that all the schools kind of looking at them, and I cared more about, hey, did you when you were on the bench, did you help that guy out, things like that. Those are the things that I was kind of looking for and hoping to instill those, because I certainly wasn't going to help them with any of the sports stuff. That was that was other people that was going to help with that, but hopefully just kind of help being better people here and there. So
quick question, because I really don't know what it is that you all did in group. I just know that after church services or when we walked into Willow, Jalen went one way, I went another way, and then I saw him about 3 hours later. It's just like, where have you been? Oh, I've been at group. Where have you been? So I know that he enjoyed it, and it actually brought those kids together. But also, that brought our families together.
Yeah.
I got to meet your wife and your kids, and I know ever since then, you've just been a huge supporter of everything Jalen, but also our family. And we've also supported you as well and
100%.
tried to keep that going. But Jalen, I want you to think about in this, if you could look back and look at the beginnings, could you ever imagine that the three of us would be right here in this space and time talking? We're interviewing you, and you'd be where you are, and we are where we are. Could you ever even imagine that?
Absolutely.
Not in your wildest, right? What
Absolutely not.
does it make you chuckle? Are you thinking like, look
No,
at
it's just
clowns up here? What are your thoughts? What do you?
I mean, there's only one clown up there, and I'll let you guys decide who's the one up there. But doesn't make me laugh. It kind of makes me think about like how things can go when you're just being who you are, and you're not really looking to get out of something for yourself personally. You're not trying to gain anything to better yourself besides just being a better person. And so it's a really cool thing that you're able to just be who you are, do the things you do, and then all of a sudden things just happen, and then it turns out for the best, and turns out into great relationships, and turns into something that you would never even think of.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I appreciate too, like, it's good, obviously when, I'm tweeting about you or I'm, texting things or showing up with pictures at games, it's also fun when people ask that question to be able to be like, no, like that's a good dude. Like, of course he's good on the court, and especially like the last, 2 weeks you're breaking out. I think everybody's knowing who you are now, but to be able to be like, that's a good dude that, my son, Stevie, my daughter, Abby, not only do they look up to what you can do on the court, but who you are as a person, like that's what matters. And, it's cool to be along for this ride, but also to kind of see who you become as a man and kind of have always been, and so that's the fun part.
It is fun. We have some stories. I know you have some stories. The journey, whether it's Peoria, let's see, Houston,
yeah, drove. Stevie didn't help with any of that driving. And I had to be at work. The next day. That's actually a fun story. So Stevie, that first year, we had a small budget. It's like we have to stay within that budget. And Stevie had a budget app, and he's telling us where we'd go, how we'd spend that money the whole way there. He was managing our little budget to go on that trip. So that was
and we were
fun.
all winging it at that time because this is the first time we've been at like a Final Four or the championship. And I was like, Steve, the bus is leaving at like 6. Jump on the bus. Just your family, go. Just and the things that we had to navigate. And then you were at 2018, were you not?
Yeah, and then I came out to San Antonio.
He definitely came to see Michigan. He came to see Michigan lose.
That was the only time I rooted against Michigan in my entire life was that day.
And they haven't forgiven you since.
Oh man, I'm sorry, Michigan, but I would do it again. Root for you again, man.
What about this year?
This year, Michigan?
Yeah.
In what? In football?
No, in basketball. Who did you guys lose to this year?
In basketball?
Yeah.
Villanova. I was rooting for Michigan this year, man, because you weren't on the team. You weren't on the team.
That was your problem.
I do like Gillespie though. That's a good play. I like all those guys, man.
That's his son.
That's your son.
I raised him.
Are we breaking news right here? Is this?
No,
He's like, no. Here's my paternity test right here. I'm like, what? Jeez.
No, I got to tell you, son, that you have definitely have been instrumental. And like Steve and this is nothing new. Whenever I jump on the phone, whether it's a T-shirt that he's made me and a couple of moms, remember that T-shirt, Killer Bees?
The Killer Bees. Oh, was that Booth and
Bridges and Brunson?
Yeah. My design work has come a long way since that shirt. I see that and I'm like, oh, that's not a great looking shirt. But
can you redo it? Because mine doesn't fit anymore.
Yours doesn't fit anymore? Okay. All right. Yeah,
I lost mine.
Dude, you haven't worn your. Nobody else. It's just me. I support everything that we do. I didn't see that shirt, whatever. But I need a new one.
Okay, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, you don't have to make it fancy either.
Just the same one.
Same one.
All right.
Okay.
We can do that.
Thank you.
So Jalen, we just talked about obviously I rifled off that list of kind of the achievements that you made on the court. Obviously you're in the middle right now of heading into the second round of the playoffs. What about that? Like when you're looking back in your life, what role did your mom play in that? And kind of when was the earliest thing that you can remember? Her playing an instrumental role in that.
She played every single role. She mom was super mom. Dad was running around playing the NBA, and for the most part we were pretty much away from him. And so mom basically was mom and dad for the majority of my younger life until maybe I was like 9 or 10. But she was able to do things that I know it kind of goes without being said now. Like it's like second nature now because she just does it. But not a lot of moms do it. Like she sacrifices her time, money, effort to do whatever it is that I need to be done, and she still does it to this day. And I say thank you every once in a while, but I could say thank you a little more. I think growing up, one of the first things that kind of showed me that my mom really cared about like me and like what I want to do and just like my basketball life is when she would let me stay up late to be able to talk to my dad on the phone after games. So he would play on the West Coast. So games started at 10:30. We're living on the East Coast. They don't end until maybe 12:31, and I'm not going to bed until I get a call from my dad. And mom knows it. It's like, Jalen, it's time for bed. And I'm just not budging. I'm not doing anything until I talk to my father on the phone. And so she would do that. And then it would be as simple as things. Hi, I love you, son. All right, good night. All right, good night, Dad. That's one thing. Mom used to rebound for me when I was younger, all the way. She hasn't done it in a while because I think I've yelled at her a couple of times.
I don't pass well.
Because she couldn't hit you right in the pocket.
Yeah.
She can rebound. It's just the velocity of the pass isn't there. Like, it used to be there. It just.
I did not realize that was a thing.
You got to put it
I
in the
thought
pocket.
my job was to rebound the ball and get it back to you. I didn't realize I had to pass it in a particular way. And it was when it was a bad pass, I'd get this look. And he just bounce it back. And like his father would say some things like, you got to pass it. And I'm like, dude, I thought I had to do is rebound. I'm rebounding. And we used to do this in high school. Remember? And then it got to be a thing where it was like, okay, you're starting to be on that playoff run or regional, whatever they call it in high school. I was like, we got to go to the gym. We'd go to Lifetime. I'd rebound. Like, whether it's 20 minutes. And I'm like, look, dude, I'm tired. Make the shots. Like, I'm not trying to run around and stuff like that. So
it's a lot easier to rebound a made shot, right?
Yes. So, and that was a thing that we had to do. I felt like after a while, that was my job to kind of help you get ready, to hype you up. I'm your hype person, right? Wasn't I?
I wouldn't say you're about hype person, but you've become a ritual now. We've been doing a ritual where she texts me for every game. In college, high school and college used to be a lot longer texts because there were a lot less games. It used to be, good luck, son. You have to do this, and that.
Well, hold on. Let's be real for the people out there. It wasn't you have to do this. Yeah, I didn't tell you. No,
I was
basically.
First of all, I wasn't done.
All right, let's just say I was trying to be something I'm not.
Long story short, she would say, "Hey, son, good luck to you today. I love you. You got this. You can do it. Yada yada." Maybe a little prayer in there. Now it's more of like, "I love you, son," and it's "I love you, mom," and
I love you more.
Hearts. No, I say "I love you, mommy" with 3 red hearts.
And I say "I love you more."
You say "I love you more," and then
And when you don't include the hearts, what do I say?
You make me say it again.
Yeah, so. Like you just put them like, where are the hearts? Put the hearts in there.
That's another thing. I think another thing that my mom did for me that kind of started my trend of wearing arm sleeves is I don't think she let me, but I did cut her socks to wear.
No, start again. I cut the socks.
Okay,
you brought me socks, my dress socks, and you have to imagine back then, this particular company, these were like, oh, those were, so he came in the middle of the morning, mom, can you, I want my sleeve. So I cut it, thinking, here you go, let me go back to bed. And they were my very expensive dress socks.
Uh-oh.
Because he wanted to be like Allen Iverson.
Okay. So did you not practice either? Did you want to be like Allen Iverson? Right? Was he the one that didn't like to practice?
I definitely practiced, but I wasn't as gifted as that man. Definitely practiced. There's so many things that she would do. Pick up food before games, drive me to practices. I remember driving one time to Macro practice. You're like, I'm never doing this again.
Oh, yeah.
That was a drive, right?
Yeah, Chicago track. It's like at 3:00. It took us like 2 hours to get there, 2.5. And his dad was like, well, let him drive. I'm like, are you kidding me? There's no way.
Just like Connor drive. When could Connor drive yet?
Oh, my gosh. I don't even think Connor had his license at that time. I did.
He had his license. I had my license.
Listen,
she was not letting us drive it.
No, it was too much. What part of Chicago is that?
I mean,
It's past Cicero.
Yeah, that's the far side.
Listen, so at any rate, yeah, that was and here I am working a full-time job.
Right. Yeah, you haven't mentioned that yet. I mean, this is all with full and another sibling. We haven't
And
even
a
brought Erica up yet. Yeah,
I don't
so
even
there's
know-
also
she's
another
irrelevant.
sibling.
She's irrelevant. She's irrelevant. She's irrelevant.
She is going to listen to this one day.
She is irrelevant.
Well, that is touching.
Yeah, well, so you did say you don't tell her thank you a lot, and like you mentioned that, and you should say it more, but you actually didn't say thank you. So, like, I mean, do you want that opportunity right now to like?
No, I'm okay. I would rather
cool.
I would rather wait.
Cool.
Rather wait.
And that's and this is real.
I think this is 100% real.
This is 100% real.
I guess when people would see like our relationship, we joke around a lot. Like we joke around a lot to the point where sometimes I joke around too much and make that look. I'm like, all right, I gotta stop.
Like that
I
look.
gotta stop.
Mm-hmm.
But we our relationship is far more unique than any other mother-son relationship, and I'll take that to the grave with me.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I thank you for sharing this, and this is what we're doing on the show. So hopefully, we get those real moments, from whether that's from mother to son, son to mother, and just hear the kind of a little bit of the behind the scenes about not only what it took that mom to kind of contribute to that, but then the moms in themselves. So, yeah, thanks. Any last thing you want to say to your son while he's on our show?
One, will you come back?
On the show?
On the show. Duh. Will you come back?
I didn't know what you're talking about. Two,
Are you thinking about it? Will you come back on the show?
If I could just answer the first question that you asked, it would be great. I feel like I'll come back on the show when you kind of say, hey, son, it's time for you to come back on the show. Do you have any time? And I would start to look at my time. You say, all right, you're doing it this time at this date. And then I'll say, okay, so.
Okay, so we got to get on your schedule a little bit better.
I make the schedule. So, yes. So, yes, I will talk to your people and we'll make that happen.
My people are the ones living in your head. So,
yes. I must say, though, Steve, like, this is kind of unique for you in this particular instance because you know him, you know the mom.
Yeah.
And I'm going to flip the script.
Okay.
Okay. Take notes, son. Okay. Take notes. What is it about our relationship that you find, I don't want to say unique but special?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you could see it in the last 10 minutes that, this isn't, your standard back and forth. And if I didn't know you, there's probably people in that back and forth that are like, ooh, this is a little uncomfortable, right? But I felt that uncomfortable like 6 years ago. And now it's just like, oh, that's who they are, And so, but I think it takes a certain level in a relationship to be able to joke around like that. And, but also too, just seeing, I think one of the experiences were a couple of them at that second championship game against Michigan. I was standing right next to you at that time, and it wasn't as close of a game as it was, against North Carolina. But just you and just watching how tense you get and how invested you have been into this, and it's out of your control, right? So there's certain things that have been in your control, and now in those moments, it's out of your control. And like, I know you've gotten up and left arenas before, and just how emotionally invested that you get, and kind of being able to see that firsthand. Another thing I've learned is, you mentioned the bus. I realized that basically, if you go to a Final Four and you just pretend you're supposed to be somewhere, you can just walk in any room on any bus. She's just like, Steve, just act like you're supposed to be there and walk right on the bus. I'm like, yes, ma'am.
Arlisha might be listening.
Oh, shoot, we'll cut that.
Yeah, no, I'm joking.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. No, but it's true. And actually, not for nothing, people say, oh, you have to be in the know. But that was our second go-round. So It was kind of like, hey, we know how this works. At least I do. I mean, at that stage in 2018, he was untouchable. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't even, I was supposed to meet. They were like, okay, ma'am, you go up front and meet, go to the door to the left. We'll bring him around. Like, it was really like, he was a celeb. They had security around him going into, you're smiling, but it was true. I was sitting in the car with him. We were going to an awards banquet.
The Wooden Award was like that next night, right?
No, that was next week. It was one of those. It was something.
The Naismith, because it's that big. And when I tell you, we were in the car and I heard them talking, and it's like CIA detail. And then that was at that moment. I know you didn't ask me this question, but I'm going to tell you anyway, because that's what mothers do, right? So we got out the car. They opened the door for him. And here, like, he had his security, and I was just like, okay, where do I go? Like, it was kind of like, now I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah. He's no longer my son. He's that guy, right? And so those are the little moments I guess I'll take as, and what you do in the car as thank yous. I really don't need the I need to thank you when I take your dog for a walk. I need to thank you when, Mom, that meal was really good. Thank you. But
all right. I say thank you when you cook for me.
Oh, you do. I'm telling everyone. Time out. You went like this. Hold on. I'm saying that to say, I don't necessarily need the thank yous. What you do on the court and what you accomplish, that to me is a thank you. Those are the things. I'm such a proud mom. I mean, so their hard work is a thank you to me. So while I guess the little small things, or like, Mommy, can you put oil in my hair? Yeah, thank you. That's what you know what I mean? But on a day-to-day, you do it. You make me so proud. You make Dad proud and your sister. We all are so proud of you. So those are my thank yous, truly, truly. And I believe other moms.
I'll remember that.
All right, cool. Well, Jalen, thank you so much for being on, man. I know that we're going to have you back at some point, whether you like it or not, because she's just, she's going to make it happen. So, man, this is fun. Best of luck to you in round 2 of the playoffs. Take it to Mikal Bridges in Phoenix. We're rooting for you, man.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me.
All right, see you, buddy.
Take care.
So that's it. Oh, she's still blowing kisses. It's all still happening. Adorable. That is the Motherload show, and we're going to be bringing that week after week after week. I'm super excited to be doing that. Happy Mother's Day to all of the moms out there. We can't think of a better gift than have a show that just highlights some of the things that you do.
Yes, and thank you. You've been a great co-host.
This will be fun.
It's going to be fun.
I'm excited.
Yes.
Cool. All right. We'll see you next week.